Hello, everybody. This is Greg. My name is Greg Griffin, and I am an addict. I'm coming to you Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time every Wednesday. For some of you that haven't known me or haven't met me, I would like to introduce myself to you a little bit tonight and give you, my background, tell my story. I don't know if you've ever been to an AA or an NA meeting. I was just talking to a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, Susie Foreman, who I've known now for crying out loud, 30 years. And I met her in Las Vegas when I was in the throes of my addiction. And I'll tell a little bit more about the story with her later as I tell my story tonight. But I'm really super excited to be interviewing her in 2 weeks, July the 1st, Wednesday, July the 1st at 6 p.m. Actually, my brother David will probably be interviewing the two of us together. She's got like 27 years now, clean and sober, really devout AA, NA member, sponsors, has sponsored several sponsees through the years. I'm just really super excited. I'm super excited to know that she's coming up here in 2 weeks. Anyways, let me tell you a little bit about myself. First started using drugs in 1977. It was my junior year of high school, and it was weird as I was as I was going back in time with my brother when we were leading up to starting these sessions last February. I was just really excited to share my story, and so I had to go back to where right before I started, right before I smoked my very first joint. All my life, I've been an athlete, elementary school, junior high, high school. I have a middle brother. David's my older brother. I have a middle brother, Mike, who we are a year and 10 months, almost 2 years apart. And as you can imagine, being an athlete and competitive as I was, I wanted to beat him at anything. So it really helped fuel me in my athleticism as I went through school, because I started at an early age. So I was telling my brother, when I was interviewed first, Leslie asked me the question. Leslie says to me, she says, Greg, why did you pick up or decide to pick up a drug in the first place? It's a good question, right? So, for me, it wasn't really, peer pressure. It was situational. Like I said, 1977, right before my senior year in high school. I ended up connecting it later on down the road, my liking or what that drug, that high, the intensity or whatever it was. I looked back on it, and it took the place of me at the end of a wrestling tournament, winning the gold medal at this tournament with a little olive wreath, put on my head and standing on that top step of the podium and just feeling that adrenaline, recognition, those types of things. And what ended up happening once I got out of high school, my competitive going to tournaments and stuff pretty much stopped. And I started kind of feeling that void, I think, with other drugs and alcohol. So anyways, 1977, summer year, before my senior year, smoked a joint. So did that, got into doing it a little bit more often. And before you know it, I was introduced to other things. So you'll hear me say later on down the road, my spiritual sponsor, when I got clean, his name's John Nielsen from Celebrate Recovery. And he told me in the beginning, he says, Greg, he says, it's really not that difficult. You need to change playgrounds and playmates. And that really resonated with me, those words. And it was true, So it's like you become who you hang out with. Like if you're going to be successful, if you're in a business or something like that, and you want to hang out with the 5 successful, people in that business, the thought is that you will become like them if you hang out in that environment long enough. So anyways, I entered the drug environment. I was introduced to cross tops. There were these little white pills with little cross on the top of them. Cross tops, that's the word. And it was speed. It was an amphetamine. And I remember when I took them for the first time, I felt like electricity was coming out of my hair. And I really, really liked the way that felt. So anyways, you know, I believe that is what's really ensnared me in addiction, is because I liked the way it felt, or maybe it was even more so. I liked to be able to have my mood changed, you know, altered states. I enjoyed being in those altered states. So anyways, unfortunately, I liked those altered states too much, and so as time went on, and I became to where I don't really think I was physically addicted at that point in time in the early 80s after I graduated in 78. It was more that it became part of my peer group that I hung out with, and we did it on a regular basis. Then came methamphetamine, a little bit of snorting of cocaine. You know, that's back when you're snorting the cocaine back in the 80s when it wasn't addictive, right? Of course it was addictive, but it was different than the crack cocaine that they have now in the world today. So anyways, introduced to, you know, LSD, you know, just the various drugs. I tried all of them. And once I became addicted or wanting them, I had very, very little boundaries around what I would do, who I would steal from to get money to buy my drugs. And so I started getting into trouble a little bit. You know, I got arrested for a burglary. Ended up getting 6 months in the county jail. This is back in 1982. And then I got arrested again for another burglary in 83, and I ended up getting a year in the county jail for that. So now the ante is starting to go up for me. Where my drug usage, I work as a substance abuse counselor program here in Berkeley, California. Be part of my story. I've worked there now. I started as an intern there in 1999. I've actually been there now at the program for 21 years. And I just love, I love it. You know, I love talking to the clients. I was telling Susie today, the woman that's the daughter of my daughter, Nicole, that I mentioned we're going to be sharing our story together on July the 1st at 6 p.m. Don't miss it, guys. Okay, don't miss it. It will be worth your while to see it. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. We have a long past with each other. And like I said, I'm really excited about being able to share with her. So anyways, got into these county jail troubles. And then finally, when the gig was really up for me legally was I went up to the state of Nevada, Reno, Lake Tahoe area. And over a drunken weekend, I had a checkbook that didn't belong to me. And so what I did was I would check into a room at, like, say, at Harrah's in Reno. I would check in. I couldn't cash checks at the cashier's cage because you have a limit to what you can, how many checks you can cash and the amount of that. They have like a system that monitors all the casinos in Reno, which is a smart thing, obviously. So I found out that I could go ahead and rent a suite at Harrah's for 4 nights at $200 a night. And what I did was I went back in the evening and I told them at the desk, you know, I checked in 11 in the morning. Now it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm checking out. Got an emergency in the family. Me and all my cleverness, right? Not knowing that I was going to go to the penitentiary for this. I would check out and they would give me the remaining 3 nights cash. So I did that to a couple places in Reno. Took a cab, mind you, from Reno to Tahoe. Did the same thing in Tahoe. The second place I went, next thing I know, whoom, the security swooped on me. So they swooped on in and arrested me, put the handcuffs on me and all that. And then the local police came and picked me up. So I was really in for a real awakening this time. And so in the state of Nevada, I wrote 8 checks over this drunken weekend, which was just fueled with alcohol and gambling and just like off the hook, destined to be caught. You know, it was very reckless and of course, they give you a thumbprint, they take a picture at the thing as you check in, all that. So anyways, I get locked up. It's Minden, it's in Lake Tahoe. It was Minden County Jail. I always remember Minden County Jail. So anyway, so I meet with the public defender when I'm there, and so 8 checks, right? And he tells me each check, guys, in the state of Nevada, each check that I wrote carried 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary. So I plea bargained to 1 check over this weekend. I plea bargained to 1 check, and they gave me 5 years in the state penitentiary, which was really, really a rude awakening. So anyways, I ended up doing that bit of time that I had to do a little over 2 years. And when I paroled to this drug and alcohol program, actually the program that I'm now currently working at. And while I was incarcerated, and you get to know a month or 2 months before the time is of when your parole board, when the parole board is going to meet, to where you have a date. You go into this room. There's like 4 members on a panel, and they ask you questions, and you answer them back. So my thought was that because I was drinking, and because I was doing these things I was doing, because the way that my life was back then, I did need my brother David, who's, I'm actually on his site. This is his church site, and him and his lovely wife Leslie have ingratiated me into this. Thanks, you guys. Just to go back for a second, last Thanksgiving, my mom passed last May 29th. That is a significant date that I will get to a little further on right now. But for the time being, my mom passed in January, so it was the end of November of 2019. My brother David and his lovely wife Leslie came up to my house. I stay with my father right now, taking care of my father. My father's not well. My sister and I care for him, and we've really and truly pretty much almost carried him back into health. His health is not good, but anyways, David and Leslie come up for Thanksgiving. And so Leslie made this beautiful Thanksgiving dinner and stuff. And we're talking afterwards. And, Leslie tells me, she says, Greg, she says, the people that I counsel and the people that, reach out to me in the Magick and their church, she tells me that there's a real need for some substance abuse information, substance abuse counseling, substance abuse history. And, it just really got my juices flowing, guys, because I knew I was going to be opening up to not just people here I live in California and Nevada, where they're at, or not even just in the United States, Canada, Europe, just a lot of places, And, I was telling Susie today, isn't it amazing? The prison time that I did, the jail time that she's done. I'm going to get into to my eventual, guys, smoking a joint in 1977. Okay, you hear people all the time, oh, it's not a gateway drug. There's definitely gateway drugs, whether it be cigarettes or alcohol or marijuana, whatever it was marijuana for me. But anyways. From start smoking that joint, the summer between my junior and senior year of high school, it started out that way. Very, very not a lot of things involved in smoking pot. Probably now I would say estimate probably in the high school, off the top of my head, people that are in high school right now, I'd say 20 to 25% of them probably have used marijuana or drank or tried something. A lot of it's probably tied to peer pressure as well. But anyways, that joint in 1977 ended up going and traveling and taking me from California to Northern Nevada to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I was there for 2 years. I got a heroin habit, which really just took me, took me down the rabbit hole. Obviously, I'll get to that here in a minute. Anyway, so my brother David graciously pays an entry fee for me to this program here that I'm now currently working at, 1987. So, I stayed there for 6 months. I left after 6 months, stayed clean for another 6 months, and basically went back to using again. So anyway, I ended up using again. ended up traveling back to Nevada, where I was on parole at, supposed to report to the parole office. Didn't report to the parole office, just began another run, running amok, running wild, in Las Vegas. So anyways, I'm in Las Vegas, and this is where I meet Susie. I'm going to go back to Susie here. I'll go back to Susie here as part of my early recovery, as that's where she came back into my life again. So anyways, I go to Las Vegas, 89, 90, drinking, doing some coke, basically, what I call harmless, but we all know that it's not harmless, but, harmless compared to what? A step down compared to what, right? A step down compared to heroin, guys. So from 1991, and doing this story right now and telling and sharing my life's path, in my story, they would call it in an AA meeting or NA meeting. You have a secretary secretaries that meeting, and they always have a speaker. They bring a speaker in. And so I guess that you could call this me sharing my story. And so anyways, I get to Nevada. I did 89, 90, cocaine, alcohol. 91, I got introduced by a friend of mine that I knew. He had heroin. He was a heroin addict at the time. And, I had some drinks in me. I wanted to try it. So I tried it. It didn't really do a lot for me at the time. I remember I felt itchy and I threw up a lot, But after doing it a few times, I kind of got used to the way that it felt and I liked it. Still didn't have a habit. Then before you know it, I was hanging out with this guy, we got a room together for, a month. And before you know it, I became physically addicted to heroin. And was addicted to heroin from 1991 up to my birthday. Dates, as I'm telling my story, dates have just such they carry such a message to me. They carry such a significant message to me, because it seemed that these different checkpoints in my life, as of dates, like my birthday, March 7th, when I entered the hospital, May 29th, 1997, which is where I came home. I was taking methadone and stopped sticking needles in my arm, of May 29th, 1997. And my dear mom passed away this last year on May 29th, 2019. So anyways, backwards to Las Vegas and my heroin addiction. During my heroin addiction, I got arrested 2 different times from 91 to 97. Once I got arrested for paraphernalia, I had some syringes and some spoons and just the normal get up and set up that, us heroin ritualistic as heroin and shooting heroin is, from buying it to going to the room and closing the blinds and putting it on a spoon and putting water, heating it up, cotton, drawing it up, the whole thing. It's very, very ritualistic, heroin is. So anyways, 30 days in the county jail for paraphernalia. And then maybe 6 months, a year later, I got picked up for an open container and ended up going to county jail, and I ended up doing 14 days in the county jail before that. So from 1991 to 1997, the span of those 6 years there, guys, minus 44 days, I shot heroin every day, several times a day. And like I've shared before, that being a heroin addict, it's really hard work. It's hard work. It may sound funny, but it's hard work. There was a lot that had to go into me being able to consistently over and over again, having money every night when I went to bed at night to be able to cop in the morning. And I used to call it, it was my morning fix, morning wake up. What I called it was, and this is what it really was for me, was getting well. Because anytime you have a heroin habit, you go to bed, you wake up in the morning, you're dope sick. And so anyways, and after we do with my buddy, we do a morning wake up or whatever it was, and to get that, dope sickness off. then the wheels would start turning again about what am I going to do to make money today so I can get a few more fixes today. So yeah, it was a lot of hard work. What ended up happening was, excuse me, you guys get some water here. Okay, thanks guys. What ended up happening is over that period of time, I didn't eat. Basically, all this stuff, after all this stuff was said and done, and I came out of the other side of my addiction, once the smoke cleared and once I was convalescing and, away from the drug for, several months, and got to look back, on it. It just showed me just how crazy of a ride it was. It was crazy. So anyways, 1997, I wake up, I have this pain in my chest. I'm thinking it's my heart. I'm not knowing what it is. Don't want to go to the hospital because I'm a heroin addict, and I'm thinking I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm going to be dope sick, right? Little did I know they were going to give me methadone, or they're going to do whatever they need to do to be able to keep me medically comfortable, so I wasn't going through withdrawal symptoms while my body was going through the trauma that it had already been going through. So anyways, I went to the hospital on March the 7th on my birthday. What ended up happening is I had pneumonia. My left lung was totally full of fluid. And when they admitted me to the hospital, they had to put in a chest tube to drain the lung. And so they did drain some of it and stuff. And then time went on, and I was still in the hospital. My mind still wasn't totally wrapped around what was going on with me. And so they couldn't get the infection off. They couldn't get the fluid off. So what they ended up having to do almost 2 months into the hospital was they had to do surgery. So they had to go into my lung, exploratory, to see what they needed to do. And then when they went into my lung, they had to open it up. They had to drain what was in it. And I remember I've actually read my hospital paperwork as far back as a month ago. I went back through it and I read it. It's just another part of my life, and it was crazy. So they had to go into my lung, and they're describing. They said on the inner part of my lung, inside my lung, there was a fibrous peel, like a clear peel that had a cottage cheesy like substance entrapped on the inside of my lung wall. And so anyways, they did that. They cleaned it out. Little do I know all this time that I was in the hospital, the social worker at the hospital my mom was in constant contact with my doctor and the social worker. And my mom would ask, finding out later, my mom would ask the doctor, do I need to come? Do we need to come? And so the doctor would tell my mom, no, not right now, you don't, but it's touch and go. Guys, when I was in the hospital and I got released from the hospital, I weighed 124 pounds. And I remember the hospital ended up giving me a shuttle or a cab. They didn't have Uber back in 1997. And so what happened was my mom had paid for a one-way plane ticket from Las Vegas, Nevada, back home to my childhood home. And little did I know that my brother David was going to be waiting for me at the airport, when I left the hospital to come there. My mom just, they were smart. They didn't just give me it. If I was able to hawk the ticket, then I would have probably done something like that. My plans really is I thought I was going to get better in the hospital. Didn't know that I was going to be going home to California, even if that was an option. And what would have really happened after 2 months in the hospital, I probably would have went right back out to the same people again and started shooting dope again. And I would be dead. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today. So anyways, I go home, 124 pounds. It's just crazy to wrap my brain around that. And so I go home and, I had, just freshly out of surgery. I think I went home a week after I had surgery. I still had some stitching, and I still had some staples, on the side of my chest, and a couple drain holes that they had. So I went back there, started getting healthy again. got healthy. And then there came a time, my brother interviewed me, who actually, if you want, you go back, I believe it was February 15th of this year, February 15th, 2020. It was when Leslie and David interviewed me for the very first time to begin doing what I'm doing right now here with you guys, passing on, some recovery stuff, some skills, relapse prevention, different skills and stuff that you can use for yourself in your life. But then at the time, I didn't know that I was going to be, staying there all along. I thought I was going to get better and go back to Las Vegas, and start shooting dope again, right? How crazy is that? I was just the kind of guy that I really, really loved the action of it and the fast pace of it. It's just that adrenaline junkie in me. Like I said, when I first started using drugs in the late 70s and the early 80s, I liked the way it made me feel. It gave me the rush and the feel that I got from standing on the top step of that podium, winning the gold medal in the wrestling tournament, or running in the cross country, finals my sophomore year, and coming in second, and all that. I mean, I was a driven athlete when I was in high school, and so there's no doubt in my mind that whenever my drug addiction started, and as it went on initially, it was a replacement for that euphoria and for that thrill, and that was there. And I mean, that's what Las Vegas represented to me early on, was just that fast-paced hustle of all that. I was addicted to that as well as I was to the drug. So anyways, I come home, I get clean, I'm at home. I came home May 10th, which was actually my mom and dad's anniversary. Like I said, mom passed away last year in May 29th, my sobriety date, passed last year that date. And May 10th, 19 days before my mom passed, my dad visited my mom in the hospital. My dad doesn't like to go to hospitals. He never has. Mom's been in the hospital a lot. Dad never goes. It's just too hard for him to go. It just literally makes my dad sick to his stomach to see my mom or see his wife in that condition with an IV in or whatever. Just made him nervous. So anyways, we got him to go to, it's a SNF, a skilled nursing facility mom was in between the hospital and that. And he got to see her. They get to celebrate their 65th wedding anniversary last year, May 10th of 2019, before my mom passed. But anyway, so I come home. I'm probably home May, June, July, August, September, 4 months. And we get a little flyer in the mail. It's like a little postcard thing. And on it says Celebrate Recovery. So Celebrate Recovery, for those of you that know about it, I think they still go on. But over the last 10 or 15 years, they were big in churches. It was biblical, 12-step. It was the same 12 steps as NA or AA, but it was through Jesus Christ, and it was through, God, through God. And so all the 12 steps of AA, when they originally were written, the Oxford group was a part of that. AA started out in 1935. AA started out with Bill Wilson, which is Bill W. for anonymity sakes. They use the last initial, and Dr. Bob. And so they're the ones that spearheaded and started out AA back in 1935. And like I said, the steps were based on, Oxford group was a religious group, and the steps were based on Bible verses. So anyways, so keep going, Celebrate Recovery. See that mom lays this postcard in there. Beginning of October, I still to this day remember. It was November the 4th, 1997, Celebrate Recovery. So as the time came, it was Halloween or something like that. It was a week before this, November 4th. And I told mom, I said, yeah, mom, I see the postcard that you have here, this flyer that you have here, of Celebrate Recovery. I said, I know that it was intentionally. I know that the dang thing was intentionally placed there, mom, passive aggressive as my mom is, right? But she placed it there. I said, I'd like to go. And she said she'd like to go with me. Can I go too? So of course she can, mom. Little did mom know at that point in time, not only was I going to get my own help, Mom was also going there and was going to get her help, even though she didn't realize it at the time. Excuse me, guys, it's hot in here. I got to take another sip of water. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so Celebrate Recovery. We go to Celebrate Recovery, and the first couple of weeks of it, Celebrate Recovery, John Nielsen, who's the gentleman, he's Pastor John Nielsen, you know, he would love to see, he moved away to Arizona here about 5 years ago, and I'm been out of touch with him, and he would love the fact that he would see now this Pastor Greg Griffin. It's a wonderful thing. I have some plans and thoughts of what that's going to look like here coming up in the future, and then hopefully in a few weeks, guys, I'll be able to share that with you. I'm kind of excited about it. Anyway, so Pastor John Nielsen was the one that was really the one that ran. He was like the main guy of it. And so what it was Mom didn't know this. I didn't know this at the time. They were closed groups, okay? My group, of course, was chemical dependency. It was a closed group chemical dependency for people that struggle with, you know, substances. And then they had overeaters, you know, overeaters group. They also had a sex addiction group, and they had a codependency. So Mom ended up going to the codependency group, and she ended up getting a lot out of it. She ended up getting a really lot out of it. And so it was wonderful that I was able to share that with my mom, that she was able to go and do that. And so as time went on, guys, you know, 97, now 98, towards the end of 98, you know, I'd been home a year and a half, and it got to the realization that, you know, I had to find out now that I knew that I wasn't going to go back to Las Vegas again and still, you know, play poker every day and shoot dope. You know, before I started getting strung out on heroin, I played poker every day. I'm going to go back to that in a second with Susie. Anyways, we have Celebrate Recovery. And so a year and a half later, we're at the end of 1998 now, and I need to figure out what am I going to do for a living in my life. You know, here I'm 38 years old, don't have a career. You know, I have very little college behind me. And so through the stuff I did at Celebrate Recovery, and the man, John Nielsen, that I told you about, John Nielsen pretty much, you know, you hear about sponsors and 12-step AA and NA. John Nielsen pretty much took me and put me under his wing, and he loved on me, and he listened to me. And it was a beautiful thing. Got to a place in my life where I needed to decide what I was going to do for myself. And then once again, Mom and Dad, you know, here they are, you know, here to help me, you know. Mind you, this is their son who in 1985, they had to get on a plane in Oakland, fly to Las Vegas, rent a car in Las Vegas, and drive 4 hours up to the camp that I was incarcerated in. Driving up to this prison, to the gates where they ask for ID, kind of thing, where they put this long pole thing with a big mirror on the bottom of it. They stick under your car to make sure you're not like smuggling anything in or any prisoners out, right? And so they got to drive up to this gate, and I just can't imagine how my mom felt that her 25-year-old son with these gun towers, razor wire, you know, this stuff, came to visit their son in prison. You know, this was after I ran amok as far as what I would steal and what I would hawk and what I would do for my drugs in the early 80s. And then coming home in 97, being, 124 pounds. And once again, you know, Mom and Dad were there for me, you know, helped me through college so I could get a career. I took chemical dependency studies and went to college for 2 years, and then began an internship at the drug and alcohol program that I currently am working at today, where I've worked now. Started there in 99 as an intern, 2000, so it's 21 years, which is, I love it. I love it. I love it. It fulfills me. It just makes my heart feel so good that I'm part of the solution today and not part of the problem. So I go to school. I get this job at the place I work at Berkeley. So I'm working there. Okay. back in time now. My years in Las Vegas, I got to Las Vegas in 1989. So from 89 up to 91, those first 2.5 years or so, I was a big poker player. I played poker every single day. I loved the action, right? And my name, they called me, I had a little handle, alias. I was Yancey Johansson, the riverboat gambler. Somebody named me Yancey Johansson because it was a riverboat gambler, right? I was a legend in my own mind, right? So anyways, I went by Yancey. So I had a friend, Susie. Okay, Susie's a gal that worked at the ranch. The ranch, the kind of ranch that she worked at, doesn't have animals. All they have is studs. Mustang Ranch. So anyways, this was after my relationship with her in Las Vegas. So she was a hustler. She was a street hustler. She turned tricks. She worked for Las Vegas. She worked for an escort service in Las Vegas. And, I was a fellow hustler. So, hustlers would cross paths and stuff. So we crossed each other's paths, Susie and I. Became friends. And it was really weird, too, because, I did my share of, hustling. I did my share of women and all that kind of goes on with that lifestyle. But when Susie and I met with another friend of mine, we became friends. Pretty much became friends right away. And there was just this bond between the two of us, She trusted me. I gave her reason to trust me. I thought the world of her. So every time, the way this relationship built, guys, is we met that night. Susie and I did. We became friends. We'd run into each other occasionally, and I loved on her. We were not just fellow hustlers. We began a friendship. So anytime Susie, she had a boyfriend or two during the times I knew her between 89 and 91. There's two different, actually, Randy and the other was Chino. You guys will never know who they are. You'll never see it. And there's no anonymity involved in any of this. Susie sure as hell. Susie sure as the heck will know who they are. I can't wait, guys. 2 more weeks, okay? 2 more weeks. Susie and myself are going to get interviewed together. Same time, same place, by my brother David and his lovely wife, Leslie. Don't miss it. Anyway, so Susie, anytime Susie's boyfriend, like I said, there's 2 of them, so I don't know which boyfriend was first. I think Gino was first. Anytime a boyfriend of hers, or those 2 guys, would go to jail, Susie would look Yancey up. And the way she would look me up is she would call around to all the poker rooms, right? All the poker rooms. And she always got me. And so she knew that once she got in contact with me, she always had a safe place to stay with no hanky-panky going on, and that she would be taken care of. So, that happened a time or 2. And I think after the first was Chino, the second was Randy. So Randy goes, same thing happens the last time now. And, I was her friend, no hanky-panky, no none of that. It was genuine love and friendship. So the last time now that Randy got arrested and went to jail, I remember really vividly the night that Susie and I kind of, hooked up. It was, we were at the Union Plaza. She's going to blow her mind. She's watched my original thing. I just talked to her on the phone this afternoon, actually, make sure that she's going to commit to July 1st. It was the Union Plaza. We had a couple of drinks and they had a band playing and we danced. And I think that was the first time that we ever kissed. And so we did, and one thing led to another, and her and I became intimate with each other over a couple of days, week. I'm not exactly sure how long. And then the time went on, and, Randy had, 2 months, whatever to do there. So the day before this, I knew he was getting out until I looked at her. I said, Susie, I said, I know I know that Randy, I started loving her and caring for her, and I think a lot of it had to do with we built a genuine, non-sexual friendship with each other to where she did feel safe and protected. Not like I'm this big, burly, bouncer guy, but she knew that I had respect in the area. I was respected down. All the derelicts, all the hustlers, most of the hustlers lived in downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street. And not just like where Binion's Horseshoe is, then you go a little bit further down and then you get the Western. It was the Western, which was part of El Cortez and Jackie Gaughan's, some of Jackie Gaughan's properties. So anyways, we would live down at that end of the Fremont Street. So anyways, I told Susie, I said, I know Randy's getting out of jail tomorrow, and so I said, I know that you guys are gonna, you guys are gonna be together. He's your boyfriend. It's the third time Chino once, second time for Randy. And I said, I understand all that. That's what you want to do. She goes, no, Yancy, it's not what I want to do. She goes, I want to be with, I want to do this like we're doing. So anyways, Randy gets out, basically. Susie talks to him, playing poker at Del Cortez. He comes in, he raises hell, a bunch of hell and shit, and so he gets kicked out of the casino, and I'm getting kicked out too, kicking both of us out, right? But it's from different exits. Him in the back, me in the front, right? So anyways, kicked out. I found myself around the other side where I knew he was getting out, and fight, happened, and kicked his, whatever it is, kicked his ass, and then that was it. It was it. Then it was me and Susie. And so during this time, knowing it was me and Susie ends up getting pregnant. I don't know that the baby's mine. I didn't know if the baby was mine or not, but maybe a little graphic, but contrary to popular belief, most women that work at the Mustang Ranch or work at the streets, there's not a lot of missionary sex going on. There's other quicker, faster type things. Not to be too graphic with this, but anyways, that's why I'm saying I don't know if the baby was mine or not, even though I knew it probably was. So anyway, Susie and I are together, and something happened where we had fallen out. I told her, if you ever cheat on me or if this ever happens, I'm going to be done, right? Still didn't know if the child was mine. So we were done. After a couple of months, we split up. I never saw her again. I get a phone call February 14th, 1991. I am at a poker room, guys, that is like off the beaten track of Las Vegas that she's never seen me at. I get a call to my room. It's Susie. Valentine's Day, 1991. And she goes, I just want you to know that your daughter was born today if you want to see your daughter. I was in denial about it. Definitely didn't want the responsibility of it. Basically said, I told you I was done, and I hung the phone up. Never to see her again. As God would have it, guys. Susie, Susie did coke. She smoked crack. I was turned on to crack cocaine probably in 89 or 90. This was before I started messing around with heroin. But anyways, I told Susie basically, I'm done. So anyway, she finds me at this obscure poker room. I wasn't at the poker room. She actually called my room where I was staying at, that I played poker at, and got me. That's when she says, don't you want to see your daughter? Hung the phone up, never to see her again. Fast forward now to my recovery. This is Las Vegas, Nevada, guys. Fast forward to my recovery. Become a substance abuse counselor, intern 1999. Move up the chain a little bit at my job, being responsible, move up the chain to supervisors, positions, and stuff. There was a conference that was in town. I was part of what's called, I had a KDAC. My certification was KDAC, which is a very recognizable and probably one of the highest recognizable substance abuse positions in the state of California. Hold on, excuse me. Sorry about that. Thank you. So anyways, I'm working at where I'm working at. And so this conference that they were having, the KDAC conference, was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, it was myself and a coworker of mine named Regina. So Greg and Regina were going to this conference, and we had our company's information. We had some flyers and stuff that we were promoting our company. So I was doing that Thursday, and Regina was doing that Thursday. My supervisor and somebody else, another staff member, were going to be there Friday, and then our assistant program director and another staff member were going to be there on Saturday. So it's 3 days. I'm in there on Thursday where I'm sitting in this meeting. It's this meeting, a KDAC meeting. They were doing voting and stuff like this. And what they did is we did some kind of like legislative stuff in the morning, and then the afternoons were filled with workshops. So I had a little flyer pamphlet thing there, and there was like 4 different workshops over the course of that day. And so reading, okay, this one workshop at the place in Santa Cruz, this place is outpatient, okay, and then this other person presenting, her name was, it said, Susan Foreman, prostitution outreach, right? Vallejo. So I tell my friend Regina, I says, I used to know a Susie Foreman, So this meeting is boring to me, okay, right? I get up, go to the bathroom, walk through the lobby, gonna get some fresh air outside, right? Walk through the lobby, nobody's in the lobby, open the door to go outside, and another door opens, and there is Susie and I, face to face, with nobody around. And it was right after the birth. It was 1 month after the birth of my daughter, Lindsay. My daughter, Lindsay, was born August 14th of 2001, and I ran into Sue August 20-something, it was right after 9/11. So there she was, and there we were. And so she told me, I still remember, she says, I didn't know whether to hug you up and kiss you or to slap the shit out of you. She says to me, she goes, I have worked so much on you in the steps that she was working, right? Couldn't find out that very day she was actually celebrating 7 years of sobriety. So doing the math, I think probably Susie will correct me if I'm wrong, on July 1st. But I believe it was, so that would make her sobriety date September 20-something of 1994. She'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. So anyways, there she is, and there I am. And so we left the conference. We went across the street to Denny's. We ordered breakfast or a cup of coffee, and we just started talking. She told me about the daughter that was born. Her name was Nicole. She was put up for adoption. In Las Vegas at the time she was born. It was a good thing that I wasn't there in her life, or Susie wasn't there. Neither of us would have been able to take on at that point in time in our lives as a parent. Like I said, I didn't even know if the child was mine. So anyways, she shares that she's put up for adoption to this couple that owned a private business in Las Vegas and couldn't have kids. So she tells me, and what's really a trip is that when my daughter was born, my daughter Lindsay was born August 14th of 2001. Nicole was February 14th of 1991, 10 years apart. It's 10 years, 6 months, or 9 years, 6 months, whatever it is. So anyways, when my daughter was born, I wanted to name my daughter Nicole, and Lindsay's mom wanted to call her Lindsay. And so my daughter was born, August 14th of 2001. Her name's Lindsay Nicole. And Susie tells me that our daughter's name was Nicole. Go figure that one, right? So yeah, it just opened up a lot of stuff. Opened up a new life right here. Us meeting each other, I don't want to go too much into stuff, it'll be a surprise. Susie will share and elaborate more. I want to respect her. I just want to respect her, I'll let her share what she feels comfortable sharing. Anyways, so, Susie and I actually took vacations together after that. We'd go to Vegas together, both very much on guard, both very much knowing what we can't do, that we can't go there and all that. And she was really, really rooted in her recovery. And I myself was really rooted in my recovery as well. And we were able to do that. So anyway, she tells me this. And so when we go to Las Vegas, these different vacations that we've taken, we filled out paperwork. Actually, the paperwork was lost before we got there that we were going to file at the county clerk's office, just in case she wanted to get a hold of us, she'd know how to. So that never happened. Okay, fast forward. August 2010 now, Susie calls me, panicked, leaves me a message, call me. I thought she relapsed. I thought that, she was so panicked. So I take a break from work, I call her. You would never guess what just happened. Nicole just got in touch with me. And so it just was amazing, And so she goes, I gave her your number, but don't call her until you get here, until I talk to you, right? And so anyways, go figure this, right? I live in Hayward, she lives in Vallejo. I get in my car, boom, drive to Vallejo, I'm there in 40 minutes, okay? So when I do call Nicole and we talk, she's got her mom and her dad 19 years later, not married, not a couple, but standing in the same living room, not in jail, not smoking crack or shooting heroin, but standing in the same room. What are the odds of that? And she told Susie early on, she says, you know, Susie, I didn't get in touch with you to have a relationship with you. I got in touch with you to find out medical history. And you know what, guys? It broke Susie's heart. And I told her, I said, Susie, God did not put Nicole back in your life for you not to grow a relationship with her. It felt like the right thing to say. Didn't know totally 100%, even though Susie's a Christian, has God in her heart, and I do as well. And so anyways, that happened. Told Susie, well, you know, now the next step is we have to go see her, meet her and her adoptive parents if we're invited to. 2 months later, I got Susie and I tickets. We flew to Vegas. We met our daughter and we met her adoptive parents, and they were the bomb. And they were the bomb. And Nicole is just the most beautiful girl that I've ever seen. And so anyways, I'm going to leave that story right there with Nicole there. There's been a lot more that's happened in the last 10 years. There's been stuff that's happened in the last week with Nicole flying up here to be with her mom on her mom's birthday for the very first time to California, to meet Susie's parents, to another parents, to meet Susie's sister, brother-in-law, best friends, stuff. And I just got off the phone with her this afternoon. And she tells me, she goes, Greg, I have something to tell you, but I don't want you to get angry. And I tell her, I said, Susie, when is the last time that you've ever seen me angry? I'm not an angry guy. I'm just, you know, I guess it's a God thing. I've been given life, a new path, to love on the clients that I work at, to feel like I wake up in the morning and that I have purpose. Why am I going to be angry? You know, I mean, I'm sure that something's happened where I've got angry before, but I can't remember the last time. And so she said, I have to tell you that she says, Nicole flew up last week for my birthday. And she told me I don't want to hurt Greg's feelings, but my daughter has, you know, she has a little anxiety. She has some anxiety issues. Like I think probably all of us in this world have a little bit of anxiety issues. But she told Susie, she says, Susie, this is so overwhelming to me right now that I can't do, you know, too much. And I told Susie, I says, you know what? I says, it's the most wonderful thing in the world that she spent your birthday. I spent my birthday with Nicole 2 years ago in Las Vegas. Me and her, March 7th, was my birthday of 2018. I was able to fly up there, and Susie was probably a little jealous of that. And I don't blame her. She's like, I'm a little jealous that I didn't get to see my daughter too, but I understood 100%. Anyways, this is good. I didn't know how this was going to go because it's a touchy, you know, issue for me and subject for me. And also want to just go very lightly as far as Susie's feelings go. I'll let her share her feelings with you as she feels led to do in 2 weeks. Okay, guys. Life is good right now, so let me keep going back to where we're at. I'm going to cut off my story from there as far as what happened with me. You know, I got clean and sober, started working at the job in 1999. My daughter was born in 2001, my other daughter. And then now my life goes on. And like I said, Leslie and Davis asked me if I would do this component, if I would actually basically do the Hermetic Order of Golden Dawn recovery, the recovery portion of that for drugs and alcohol. People, everybody almost is in some form of recovery or some form of addiction or compulsion or whatever, like whether it's food, guys, whether it's sex, whether it's relationships, whether it's, you know, there's so many things, guys. Being addicted to 12-step meetings, right? There's so many different, you know, things. So anyways, I've talked recently in the talks, I was saying that, you know, I really loved the fact that it was really Leslie was opening that door of the recovery thing, being the Golden Dawn recovery person to be able to, do that and to be able to, what I'm doing, guys, is I'm doing shares. This is a little different right now. My brother asked me a few weeks ago, I think I was doing a relapse prevention talk. He says, there's a lot of people that don't know you yet, Greg. He says, so I want you to kind of go back through your story, so give them just like a nutshell version of your story. 5 or 10 minutes. I says, David, 5 or 10 minutes, you got to be kidding me. I can't even, I don't know how to do that, 5 or 10 minutes. So I decided tonight that I was going to go back into my past. For those of you that heard the February 15th or I don't know the exact date. It was a Saturday in the middle, maybe the third Saturday. We came up with these third Saturdays. So the third Saturday in February. It was similar, but I also went on and talked about the OxyContin thing and the whole fentanyl. There's this whole fentanyl thing, guys. I'm going to transition into this right now. It's going to talk about recovery slogans and revisit relapse prevention and one day at a time, just kind of revisit them. But anyways, so I want to talk for a minute about this fentanyl thing that's going on. For today's heroin addicts, I mean, I know firsthand because I deal with heroin addicts, fentanyl addicts every day, where I work. I'm lucky enough to just be able to introduce myself to them. They introduce themselves to me, and lucky enough for them to just tell me and share their story with me, about what's going on for them and, where they're at and stuff. And I can share my story, I still have some tracks, light tracks, along my forearms and stuff from where I used to shoot dope. Sticking needles, guys, sticking needles in my arm several times a day for 6 years, minus 44 days. And so there's part of that when a 21-year-old client knows that 60-year-old Greg's drug of choice was heroin and cocaine mixed, speedballs mixed, and that I've done prison time, all of a sudden I gain all the credibility in the world, right? Now I can listen to you. I've been to prison and you stuck needles in your arm for 6 years. Go figure, right? So anyways, guys, today what's happening is fentanyl is the new thing. First it started out, it was heroin and it was laced with fentanyl. What happened is the drug cartels down in Mexico, I couldn't wrap my brain around it at first. They even say it's getting put in cocaine and in meth. I haven't seen that, I don't know that, but I hear from the clients that in fact is true. So this fentanyl thing where, okay, there was a guy, I don't know the name or exactly where he's from, Brazil or someplace like that. One of the head guys of the cartel hired this chemist to teach these few people that are in the cartel how to cook up fentanyl, kind of like they used to do methamphetamine in a lab and all the ingredients. Well, now we got fentanyl, guys. Teaching how to cook up fentanyl. Mind you, fentanyl is 80 times stronger than morphine. So we got this fentanyl. They're lacing the heroin with it, so it's potent, and it's getting people hooked and stuff. But it's killing people as well. People are overdosing left and right. The very first time I spoke, I showed this. Actually, I'm showing it. Excuse me. I think I have it in here. Let me see if I have it here. I apologize. And I do. I showed this last time that I shared. Okay. Let me see if I can get that centered. Okay. There. Okay. You see that, guys, right there? Okay. You know what this is? This is Narcan. This is a kit. It's an opioid. It says right here, guys, it's opioid overdose rescue kit. Okay. It has it in Spanish right here, right? So they have this. Okay. And in this kit now, guys, you see that? That's intranasal. That is intranasal. And what it does, guys, is anybody that leaves my program where I work at is given one of these. If they're an opioid addict, they're given one of these as they leave. If they leave the program against staff advice, they're given one of these, okay? Because overdoses are rampant. Rampant. Kids are dying left and right. So the thing is that, you have that, okay? If you OD yourself and you haven't, maybe thank God, hopefully somebody will find that on you. Somebody will find that and use it on you. If not, somebody you can use it on somebody else, or they can use it on somebody else. As many of these as we can get out there, guys, once it's used, is saving somebody's life. And that's where we're at today with the strength of this fentanyl. It's crazy. So anyways, I just want to touch a little bit on a couple of things that I've done. I was talking about recovery slogans. I kind of was trying to think what I was going to do this Wednesday here. And so I've done relapse prevention, I've done 12-step programs. I've done one day at a time. I'm going to talk about one day at a time again in a second. So we have recovery slogans, acronyms, recovery acronyms. I love recovery acronyms. I love this one too. Okay, SLIP. So somebody has a slip, right? Called SLIP, SLIP. Sobriety loses its priority. I love it. Ego, easing God out. Love it. So anyways, there's these different slogans and stuff in recovery. And there's a thing, it's called HALT. It's a emotional state of relapse prevention. It's relapse prevention. It's a state. HALT stands for don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. There's just 4 emotional things. And they have that acronym and they have those words because they've identified those 4 things as emotional states where somebody's vulnerable to relapse in, right? So like anger, like I just shared with you about anger, and me telling Susie, my sister even, when is the last time that you've seen me angry? Really? When is the last time? And, and I thank God for that. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not angry, guys. But so anger is probably one of the number one things that people relapse on today because it's such a powerful emotion, And so what do you do with that, guys? I was talking to a friend the other day. We were talking about stress. He was stressed. And he says, and I says, I have some really good relaxation techniques for you, some guided imagery, some really good deep breathing. There's this one exercise that I'll share it with you now. It's very simple and easy. And you try it out sometime. It's effective. So you get your body into a really rested posture to where you're comfortable. And then you start from the feet up. You take your feet and you just clench them like a ball and hold them and count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you release it. Then you do your calves. Tighten your calves up, tighten them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. Quads. Tighten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Loosen. So you do that, guys, all the way up the body, okay? From calves, buttocks, stomach, shoulders, arms, hands, head. You tighten your head up, but you get it. Maybe close your eyes, squint really hard. And when you release, when you're going up the body and you're releasing, you're doing that, it's getting those muscles, it's engaging those muscles. There's something about anxiety and anger and these emotions, guys, that there's energy in it. There's energy in your body. There's energy in your muscles. And if you can find things, guys, guided imagery, deep breathing. Guys, you can go on websites right now, and a lot of the websites will have a little circle like you see on YouTube with a little arrow, and they'll give you a 3 or 4 minute relaxation technique there. You push it, and it will walk you through it. It will tell you how to sit, and she will guide you. And so I was telling this guy the other day about stress. I says, you've got to learn how to be able to relax yourself from that. I says, because you can't be relaxed and stressed at the same time, right? So what are we going to do? We got to learn how to be, we got to learn how to relax ourselves. Excuse me. So anyways, that's a little bit of a spiel for anger. A continuation of that, guys, is if you're in drug and alcohol treatment, if you're in a program, if you have insurance, I would recommend for anybody that, you know, even it's been a few years since I've seen a therapist, but while I've been clean and working on the job and with while my life is good, as far as what I'm concerned, in my heart, my life going on really well for myself, I saw a therapist still once a week. It was just a wonderful thing for me to sit down and just share my stuff. I mean, we all busy. I have a daughter right now. She's 18. My other daughter, Nicole, that I just talked to you about just now, she just turned 19 on Valentine's Day. And, you know, we have stuff in our life. We all busy. Our lives are busy. We have this, we have that. It's good to be able, especially me. You know, I'm in a helping field. Anybody that's in a helping field, like doing what we do with substance abuse counseling, whatever you do in life, guys, it's always good to be able to process your stuff with somebody. It's healthy. So I would recommend that, you know, anger management classes, there's a lot of stuff. This is the thing, guys, about recovery, okay? Recovery is not for people who need it. Recovery is for people that want it. That's key right there. You've got to want it, okay? When you want it, then you start doing some of these things that I'm talking about. You start tightening your damn feet up, right? Or you know, you start doing that. You start exercising for 30 minutes or more and reading for 30 minutes more. I'm going to talk about that in a minute when I get to one day at a time again. So anyways, anger is a very powerful emotion. Probably one of the number one emotions that people relapse over. Angry, I'm tired. Don't get too tired. I mean, we work feverishly. Some of us work really, really hard at what we do. Some of us are driven. Some of us aren't. But anyways, we all do get tired. Most of us get tired, you know. And when you're in early recovery and you have the tired thing, I don't know. When I first got clean from heroin and opiates, I couldn't sleep very well for a long time. Clients that I see now that are in the program have a hard time sleeping. Shit, you know, when you first come in, you're lucky to get 2 or 3 hours of sleep or an hour even. But there's things, you see, all bets off. We can't drink until we pass out to go to sleep, or we can't take, you know, a couple Xanax to go to sleep. You know, we're recovering now. All that stuff is off. But, you know, guys, we've got melatonin. We've got valerian. There's stuff that we have that are natural herbs, Eastern medicine. You know, try these things, you know, it's really important, you know. So anyways, let me talk a little bit about one day at a time again. I spoke about it here a few weeks ago. Sometimes for people in recovery, when they get into recovery, things just seem really, really overwhelming. So, you know, that's why you hear the term one day at a time. What does that really mean? It means that, you know, I don't want to look off far in the past or too far in the present, okay? The present isn't here yet. Today is here. So what we got to do is we just have to stay clean and sober, guys, for today. One day at a time. And so how do we do that? My job in life as a man in recovery is to change me, changing me one day at a time. Talk about scheduling. With one day at a time, scheduling is so important. What I do usually, I mean, guys, I know this firsthand because I've lived it, and I still live it to this day. In the busy world that we're in, with working, I'm also a realtor. I do a little bit of, I'm a real estate agent. You know, we've got the COVID-19 stuff and all that going on, and it slows stuff down and all that. But, you know, I have a lot going on in my life. And just as everybody's got a lot going on in their life. And for us as addicts, especially in early recovery, you need structure. Structure is the best thing in the world for us addicts. And what does that mean? That means that we have to have stuff lined up in our life. And I'll give you an example here in a second. We have to have stuff lined up in our life to be able to take the hours that we have right now and fill them with healthy stuff, planned out stuff that's going to help us means to an end, stuff that we know of, stuff that we have planned. Okay, what I did was you can go on the computer. You can download a daily hour, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or every half hour, however you want to do it. and download that. And so wake up 6 o'clock, coffee 6:30. This is like one of my schedules. Up 5 o'clock, 5:30, leave the house. At the gym, 5:45 to 6:30, workout, shower. At the real estate office at 7 till 10, leave, go to my other job, and on and on and on, and have my day broken up into things like that. Because of that, everybody's days are different. Everybody's jobs are different, whether you have a job, you're going to school. If you don't have a job, guys, it's really, really, really super important. If you're coming from residential treatment out back into like an SLE, sober living a home, and you're not working right now, okay, guys, you get up at 6, you're going to go to bed at 10. Hell, what is that? That's 16 hours there that you've got to account for. And so for me, people where I work at and those that I'm helping and just kind of putting my arm around them and loving on them and guiding them and mentoring them and being their biggest cheerleader, it's I want to share it. I want them to get it. You know, I don't want, guys, I just found out a week ago, a gentleman that was in our program 2 times over the last few years, wonderful man, died of an overdose a week ago. And this is serious, guys, this is serious. So walking beside them, being able to pass on stuff that I use in my life and stuff that I've seen other people that are successful in their own recovery. What you do is, like I tell somebody, so what you do, guys, is you pick a little over here from this. Then this guy over here, you admire that. You take a little bit from there. You take a little bit that's strong and healthy and makes sense from here, and you get your thing. So you sit down. This is what I would recommend. In your schedule, you need to have at least 30 minutes, 30 plus. I'd love 45 better minutes of exercise, not just lifting weights. Okay, I'm talking aerobic, deep breathing, slow, sweating exercise, aerobic exercise for 30 plus minutes scheduled. 30 plus minutes of reading every day scheduled. I used to be able to, I've ran over 30 marathons and over 100 half marathons in my life. My last marathon that I ran was, 2015 when I turned 55. I thought, I'll show 55. I'll train, I'll do this. And I did it with a psychiatrist friend of mine that I work with, who's a beast. He's 5 years older than me. He's an aerobic machine, right? And so anyways, I said, I'm going to run this, marathon. And so with that, there comes a lot of training, a lot of time. And I did a lot of my training too on the treadmill and the elliptical. And I was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I was able to read. So I got to feed my mind with stuff that I wanted. Some of it was like about real estate stuff. Some of it's about, self-help stuff. But read, okay, guys? 30 plus minutes a day of reading, okay? 30 plus minutes a day of exercise. Every day, find a 12-step meeting scheduled in your day. AA is an hour, NA is an hour and a half. So, schedule that in your day. Even if you don't get anything out of the meeting that day, just even when you do them one day at a time, you don't get anything out of your day, for crying out loud. And you look reflecting back at the end of the night and you say to yourself, you know what, this was a really crappy day. It sucked or whatever, right? You know what? It is another day clean and sober. And that's a wonderful thing. So the 12-step meeting, the exercise, the reading, the giving back, give back. Where I work at, we have a thing called a concern group. If somebody is going to leave our program, we call it on the splitting page, you're going to split. They're irritated, they want to leave, they're going to leave. What I do is I say, well, who's his friend? Who is he close to? What peers is he close to? Get 2 or 3 of these peers that he's close to go up to him and to sit down with him and to remind him of why he is here. You came in because your girlfriend's pregnant. She's due in 3 months and you have a 2-year-old already. What are you doing? You know, have your peers talk to them. And from that, they're not just talking to their peer, telling their peer, you need to stay because of this. How about this? And what about that? They're also talking to themselves. They're also reinforcing their own recovery, which is a beautiful thing. So giving back. So whatever that looks like, whether it's, you know, talking to, you might have 3 months clean and somebody new comes into a meeting and you hear them share. They always ask, does anybody have 24 hours or less than 24 hours? And people raise their hand. So notice that it's not uncommon for people to come up, even you, 3 months in recovery, to go up afterwards and talk to that person because you can relate to that person. And there's a saying, we keep what we have by giving it away. And so hopefully today, guys, I was able to share a lot of stuff. I had 0 notes today. I told my brother I have 0 notes. He wanted me to share my story of 5 to 10 minutes, right? Good luck with that. So I had 0 notes, okay? Got to the first time I shared back in February, didn't go into Susie or Nicole. There's a little bit of a boundary there, you know, like when I talked to her today about sharing. And like I said, July 1st, guys, 2 weeks from now, 6 p.m., be here. It's going to be Susie and I being interviewed by my brother. Don't miss it. She is a wonderful, wonderful woman role model. And I would like to say that she's one of my very best friends. So don't miss that, guys, okay? Thank you for letting me share tonight. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I can be. You know, my heart is here for you. Honestly, truly, 100%. This is what I live for. God has me here alive today. For this, I believe. My brother told me when I was getting on the plane at the airport in 1997, weighing 124 pounds. My brother recently told me, he says, Greg, I didn't think you were going to make it. And thank God I've made it. And I thank God that I can share with you. So I'd like to say to you guys tonight, good night. You know, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. If you feel a strong craving and you really want to use and you don't know what to do, pick up the phone and call AA or NA hotline. You know, there's always somebody there to answer. Get your butt to a meeting and raise your hand and say, I am struggling today. I need help. And I guarantee you somebody's going to come up to you after that meeting and they're going to talk to you. Okay, guys, I enjoyed tonight very much. Good night, everybody. I will see you next week at 6.